Okay, here we are back again, episode 3. We are switching things up a little bit. We're going to call these sorts of episodes the Founders Table. We're going to drop these in every now and again. We're going to keep it a bit more direct, straight talking, try and get some advice out there. And what better man for the job than bringing Mr. Dean McFarland back?
I really felt like I was just a bit of a podcast fluffer at this point, just wheel them out to take up a bit of space.
Keep things
going.
Some of the messages, honestly, it was you went down very well.
So I've been told.
One of them was he seems to get more and more handsome every time I see him. So
Appreciate the fact my mum's been watching it.
I was going to say Mrs. K McFarland. So, but yes, good to have you back.
Thanks, mate.
First experience wasn't too bad.
No, not at all.
Good. Well, as I said, these sorts of episodes we're going to try and delve into some particular topics.
Okay.
We had asked some of our followers for some questions. So we will kick things off. Number 1 was a lifestyle and fitness topic. So how do you fit health and fitness into a jam-packed schedule, and how important is it for balancing business and family life?
Well, I think to answer the latter part of the question, obviously it's very important. Having spent a lot of my life, let's say, I politely put it, an awful lot heavier. I think about 5 years ago now, maybe at the start of COVID it would have been, I kind of put myself on a path to be like, right, okay, I don't want to live like this anymore. And over probably a 2-year period, dropped like 12 stone. And then just kind of try to stay on that path. Now, the shape that I got into was probably quite unmaintainable, or that lifestyle was unmaintainable, where
the pre-weight loss lifestyle?
both, yeah. I probably extended my life by about 20 years, and then the stress of my personal life probably took that away again. So I've just kind of evened out. But yes, you threw what I was thinking there. Yes, so trying to do it in such a way where you overcompensate doesn't work. And actually, the key is trying to find that balance. And I think certainly in the past couple of years and how things are within our businesses, being able to train and plan your eating, as woeful as that sounds, around work. So like, you think of, say even the past 18 months or maybe 2 years, timelines kind of get blurry in my mind, that you've been training. When you started out, we trained together while we were working, basically on our lunch time, and that didn't impact anybody else in our lives. So, your wife, my family, or, it wasn't like suddenly, I need time in the evenings to train, etc. But
it's amazing how having the flexibility to fit that in, you make stuff accessible, and it's almost like creating easy wins for you. So instead of being like, God, I need to start the gym, when the hell am I going to fit that in? Again, I was going to say it's lucky for us. It's not really lucky because you create it. You created that. Hey, right, seeing the lunchtime, we joined the gym around the corner from our office. We're going to nip around, we'll do a session. And then obviously the fact that we have a restaurant could work both ways. We could be landing back and having club sandwiches and chips and coleslaw or whatever. Which, I mean, let's not beat about the bush. Sometimes that may or may not happen. We don't have to disclose that. But you can also make better choices. And we have that ability.
Yeah. I think though, like fundamentally, things have to suit your lifestyle. So, as an example, people will say, "Oh, I get up at stupid o'clock in the morning and I do this and do that." But like,
you're really trying to get at someone, like?
No, I'm not. 4 a.m. club. No, I think that might suit certain people, but like the only thing stupid at stupid o'clock in the morning is me. Like, I'm the worst morning person in the world, so I can barely manage a school run. Never mind getting up and doing something.
Well, we probably look at things differently in a fitness lifestyle capacity. You wouldn't want to train in the mornings.
No,
was that no issue training in the morning? Would prefer to get up and get it done. Whereas that's definitely not you. You wouldn't fuel for training. Whereas I'm like, flip, I need my electrolytes, I take my creatine, I'm eating at this time, whatever. So you train today and you're like, I can't be eating breakfast.
Yeah. Well, it's a guy I trained with, is my first experience with him. I think I threw up 8 times, and that put me off ever eating pre-gym. So now it's just strictly coffee and Monster.
Whatever works.
Yeah, that's it. It's got me this far.
It's its own nutrition.
Lifeblood right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as well that you're not alone. So just an example, I signed up to do a charity boxing match. That's the fight is in on the 30th of November, but the training starts this Monday.
Do we have a ring name, a nickname?
No, not yet.
Dean
although no.
Let us know. What do you think?
Yeah. I think at some stage what I'll do is whoever. So obviously it's for charity, and I'll eventually get more information on what charity or GoFundMe or the details that will follow with that, which I'm sure you'll kindly post on a lot of our socials.
Absolutely.
See me not being that social media savvy. But whoever donates the most to the charity can pick, as long as it's not something obscure. I'm not getting into the ring as Dean Adolf Hitler McFarland or anything. So
no, don't want to get cancelled.
As long as it's appropriate, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But sorry, the point I'm making was that signed up to this fight. Training starts this Monday coming. Had an induction on Saturday past and got the times and the days of the week of training. And got home that night and text Maxwell's mum, my son's mum. Again, I just talk as if everybody and whoever sees this is like, I know who he's talking about.
It's your best friend.
Yeah, true.
It's only your family watched it.
Yeah. Hi, mum. Anyway, he texted his mum and said, look, these are the times and days that I'm going to need to train for the next 8 weeks. And she literally replied just being like, yep, no problem. So that makes life significantly easier. Now, I will say, when I text, she was on holiday at the time in a villa that looked like something straight off of Love Island. So I probably could have really requested anything, and she'd have been like, "Yeah, sounds good." Yeah. So, but at the same time, that balance, whatever dynamic your life is, really makes things easier.
And that's probably an example as well of having the support, to enable you to live a certain lifestyle. Because we both know, because I mean, when you started going through your transformation, or whatever you want to call it, I'm going to include myself in this, probably wasn't the most supportive, the people around you. And it was like, well, but now, we've discussed this many times, I can look, and it felt like you were shining a light on me, being like, well, but you weren't. It was just you were doing this for you, but it was like, fucking hell, I'm not doing that. And it's like, oh God, I probably should be doing those things, and I wasn't. And I feel bad I wasn't more supportive initially at the start, and I appreciate that through my journey that you've experienced that. So you've been very supportive of my journey.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, it's like, even your friends, people want you to do well, but not better than them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just human nature. So there's no point in getting too hung up on it. But as you just said, like, having realized that whenever I did it, when you started, like, if you think back to like week one, before you took up running, which obviously I don't do much, but you train 3 times a week.
Just run away from your problems.
Yeah. Best way to handle them, when you train from week 1 3 times a week, probably for the first 20 weeks, I trained with you every time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, okay, well, if I go every time, you're going to go. And then obviously it was beneficial for me as well, because it kind of...
And to note, I was probably the strongest I've ever been.
Yeah.
Doing that. I remember you taking credit for the bench press PT and like, well, how many PTs have you had and whatever? That didn't get you there, which was factually correct.
Yeah.
Something else, just a note, right? My brother brought this up the other day, right? So he said, you and I nearly had an argument one time about you and gym memberships. And he said, I was adamant that I've had a gym membership most of my adult life, which I was like, yeah, I have. And he was like, no, you haven't. You've 100% like just had gym memberships and not went and whatever. And I'm like, no, like, I've had gym memberships, like, and I've went, unfortunately, and it's not a proud thing. I just never lost weight. Like, we saw it as a bit of a social outing.
Yeah.
We'd go to the gym and then get a large chicken on rice with kebab sauce from the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, we're healthy eating here.
Yeah.
Could you just confirm denial that like I did?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And there's several PTs that could vouch for that as well.
Yeah.
I didn't do their businesses any favors. But
I was going to say, there's probably a lot of cafes and restaurants that could also confirm that we turned up sweaty and ate a load of food. Got sweatier. probably that was the hardest part of the workout.
Sweating out the booze.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
But yeah, back to the fitness and the lifestyle and the balance. I think we could both vouch and say that it's been a very positive impact on our lives in terms of families. And do you think back when you started your journey, was there a real was there a why? Because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are like, I'm not training, I'm unfit, I've put on weight, whatever. I'd love to do something about it, but I'm just not feeling it. And was there a real catalyst that like kicked you into action?
Yeah, probably, to be honest. I think it was just a period in my life, stuff going on. I'm not even sure the best way to word it, but
we don't have to delve into it.
No. There's, I've always said I would just be honest, so it feels like that's the best policy. But I think the best way to describe it was I wasn't happy with who I was or how I was living, and there was a few things that kind of shone a light on that to me, that I wasn't maybe the best version of myself, and that is what kickstarted it. And then I kind of was like, okay, ironically, like I knew what to do in the gym. I knew probably how to eat, but I actually needed accountability more than anything else. And
I can vouch you knew how to eat, like.
Yeah, true.
Fastest eater I've ever seen.
To
this day.
Yep.
You really should enter competitions.
100%. But yeah, so I think that's basically just the realization of like, okay, well, this is, like I work a lot, I do all these things. Maxwell wasn't even born yet, so I didn't. Was he born? When it started?
He might have been.
I tell you, it'd have been a couple of months.
Yeah.
It'd have been a couple of months. Anyway, it was before he was born that I kind of realized that, wow, I've really let myself go here, and I'm not the soon-to-be dad or the husband or whatever that I want to be, or partner, whatever. So there was a lot of elements to that, and it took me a few months to kind of say, okay, what am I going to do here? Because anybody who knows, or anybody who's ever sort of sat down to themselves and said, I've lost the run of myself here, I need to shift this weight or whatever, it's really easy to think about, it's really easy to plan, but actually putting any of that into action it's actually really fucking hard. And, now obviously back then there wasn't the like Ozempic, Manjaro, all that stuff that I actually think like people struggle, they should use it, because in most elements of your life, if there was something that made your life easier, you would take it. But for some reason with that, there's a bit of you're cheating. And it's like, I've said this to you before about other elements of life. Like, if you build a business that's really successful and make a load of money, or you win the lottery and get a load of money, nobody really gives a shit how you got the money. They just wish they had it. So anybody who's like, you're cheating, is just because they're too lazy to do something one way or the other. And that was that.
It's actually more that is more of like a moral thing, like an internal thing, as to like if you does winning the lottery, if you had that money in your bank versus you built the business over 15 years, does it matter to you how you got the money, or would actually, because I know for me I'd rather have earned it.
I agree, but if I'm lying on the beach, on a random Tuesday at a fucking 6-star resort, I don't really think that moral compass would mean much to me.
Yeah, no, it's but I think why I bring it up is it's more just that a lot of life, I think, is like you only know what you tell yourself. You can portray an image, you can say whatever you want, but it's those agreements with yourself, and if you can be a person that keeps yourself accountable, it's only you know that. So it's just more like the person you'd want to be, and that doesn't mean that I've built this business over 15 years. Year 10, I took a large investment. I sold a percentage of the business, and that helped kick me on to get to where I am now. So there's definitely ways and means, but I totally agree. What's the phrase? People want to see the trophy cabinet, but they want to see the training pitch, something like that. I don't know. I think you're right, particularly in the weight loss front. Is there any just on the topic, any top fad diets that you remember from the past? Not that we would condone any.
Oh God, you remember?
Always loved the marine.
The marine diet. The best one actually. I don't know if I read this, like found it online, or actually just came up with it myself. But I know a few people who did it, and it's the results are really questionable. But it was basically the only thing you ate is sugar-free jelly.
Right.
Do it for like, it's a true story, do it for like 10 days.
Well, like breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, sugar-free jelly, because it tricks your body into thinking, oh, well, I'm eating, but actually it's basically just like you end up super hydrated. But what's most laughable is if you can imagine the results of eating nothing but sugar-free jelly would have on your body and your toilet. Interesting. So that's, I think it's definitely not my favorite, but the most comedy fad diet. But
yeah,
the thing is, even with how I did it, you could call it, you could band-aid into the same thing, because for probably 3 years in a row, I ate the same thing every day. So,
that's true.
My trainer, a guy John Martini, in Bangor, he adapted the diet as what suited me, and I told him, look, I don't want options. I just want, like, give me a menu that I can stick to and nothing else, because that's how I do things best. And like, I remember once, I think it was for my mum's birthday, like going out with mum and my two brothers. They were going to Mexican, so my dad didn't venture there because, much like me, Mexican food wouldn't do him too well. And they, 3-course meals, and I just sat with a Coke Zero the entire time, didn't even eat, because I was like, there's nothing, this isn't like part of what I do.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to miss out on the experience, but at the same time, it was like, and for those 3 years, like, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Valentine's Day, birthdays, same thing. It wasn't, eventually my trainer actually said to me, it was like, you need to eat something.
And I can totally vouch for that, because like you did all of those things, and there was moments, and I'd have been in the crowd to be like, mate, you need some balance.
Yeah,
you always made the point that so much of your life was led in one direction.
Yeah,
so actually there was a lot of making up to do, which was very valid. But then I think, it's easier to say once you've kind of crossed the bridge. It's like, okay, I can lead my life with a bit of balance. Now.
But that was my thought process. Like, okay, my scales have been quite heavily tipped in the wrong direction. So if it takes me 2, 3, 4, 5 years to bring them back even just an even playing field, that's okay, because I had 30 years of kind of doing as I pleased to the detriment of my health and waistline.
Yeah.
So it's, but people did say to me, again, though, the people who said that to me weren't always,
on your team.
Yeah. It wasn't always like, oh, you need balance. It was more like, you've lost.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't really want, the smaller you get, the more it highlights the bigger I am in that kind of thing. Which is really weird, because like men obviously don't. It's not the same, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever way you look at it. Like men and women, and say issues with around weight, or their relationships with food, or whatever way you want to describe it. And like you can testify to this. Like, it was always like, well, he's a big guy, right?
It's mean. That was like our catchphrase.
Yeah. No, our catchphrase was heavy and broken, but yes, that like, he's big. And my mum would have said it. He's a big boy, and I'm like,
I read you that message the other day from someone that had done some work for me in the past. There was a post I put up about my weight loss, and he had texted me, and he was like, "I never said you had any weight to lose, 6 stone. Like, that's a load of weight. I'd never said that." And it's only, I look back at photos, and I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah. About? Well, you think you've done that to me. I know plenty of other people have done, where it's like, you never look like that, and I'm saying, mate, that's a photo of me.
It's not AI.
Yeah. And then even Pierce in the office, like, he'll see like older pictures and be like, I don't recall you ever looking like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, mate, we've known each other for 12 years. Like, I did. I was warbling about there, but
do you think becoming a parent emphasized that? Was that a catalyst? Did that change your outlook on health and fitness?
It did, but not around the time that I was really in the depths of like what I wanted to do. And like, really, unfortunately, if I'm honest, at that time, this is going to make me sound vain, which I've been accused of being lately. It was purely aesthetic. Yeah. Like, I hadn't really considered the health implications. And I know obviously you're different, because even with your training now, it was very much like, okay, you came and trained weights and whatever else in the gym with me, but then it was like, okay, I'm going to start running, I'm going to do high rocks, and they're obviously all bring different elements of actually being fit and healthy, where at the time I just wanted to look my best, which, I mean, you should wheel out the before and after photos to sort of highlight, okay, well, this is where you were starting. So you had a long way to go to look your best, but that was the main reason. But as it kicked on, you know, you'll remember, like I did start running, which is not, like running's never been, obviously a friggin' knee replacement doesn't necessarily help me, but never, but it was more than like, okay, well I have, I'm going to need to be able to keep up with a little boy who's going to want, and like anybody with a kid, male or female, any dad who is, let's say, carrying a bit too much weight, has probably entertained the fear that comes from, fuck, what do I have to do at sports day? Or like, I'm sure this will resonate with so many dads, but like, right, your son or daughter wants to go to swimming lessons, you have to go too. Oh fuck. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, what? 100%. You're gonna let something as stupid or as simple or as fixable as eating properly, like that's gonna, and particularly for someone who likes to have not them controlling, but like to be in control of things.
Yeah. Fucking control of that.
Yeah, but or you can let it control you.
Yeah.
And that's
everything is a choice. And like the description of the path that you went down, it just had me thinking about discipline. And that's what that was. And discipline is consistency.
Yeah.
Whereas motivation is fleeting. Comes, goes.
Yeah.
That isn't what's going to get you through. Whereas you had that discipline and a greater goal.
Well, actually, a large part of it was because obviously, I'm like not one to part with money easy. So
that's not what we discussed in the last episode.
No, I know, but like
spend it all, go.
Personally, but at the time,
2 weeks.
I had this logic that if I was going to pay a trainer, that I would stick to. I mean, like I weighed out everything. I done every, like exercise steps. I got to a stage where, and again, he could confirm this, but like I would train with him and like black out. I was just I probably took it too far, and at the time I probably wasn't in the greatest health anyway. But I had this logic that if I'm going to pay him and I don't get results, I'm going to stick to exactly as what he tells me, so that if the results aren't there, I can put it back on him.
He's also accountable then?
Yeah. And that was, and that's exactly what I did.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a little bit of that personal agreement as well in there with yourself, because then you know what you've done. So it's not like, him asking you. It's funny because I'm just thinking of Paddy's videos you guys have been filming recently. Anyway, if you've stuck to his diet, unlike other people that may have been like, oh yeah, did you stick that? Well, I definitely know how to we fucking kebab on Friday night, or did you know what I mean? Or I had a pizza, or had my Chinese.
Yeah.
Did you stick to your diet? No, well, you haven't lost any weight, so it's like that's the reason why. Whereas you knew going in, well, actually, I've done this to the T.
Well, the gyms had closed for 9 months, I think, and I have to say, I got a training plan for at home and just could not that I couldn't stick to it, but it wasn't the kind of stuff that I would be into doing, which I know isn't an excuse, but whatever. But I stuck to the diet and I stuck to my steps, and when the gyms reopened, I came back and weighed in. Now, again, my trainer, who obviously has a lot of clients, he's well known and really successful. And he was like, mate, you're the only one who lost weight in those 9 months, because obviously everybody kind of went down that road of, well, whatever. And I think I dropped like 19 pounds in the time it was closed. Maybe it wasn't 9, it was maybe 6 months, but whatever. But it was just like, well, yeah, look what you can do if you stick to it. But I think the hardest part is always, like anything, and probably particularly in the way the world is now, you want things immediately. So, if we're sitting here, if we wanted food, it could be here. Immediately. If you want a shop from Tesco's, we'll get you that. But if you want, it's like, this is going to be hard, and it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things.
Okay, box that off then. What's the takeaways? Glad you're.
Yeah,
I think the takeaway is probably that I personally feel it is a very important part of that balance, and certainly as a as a parent, I think that was a catalyst for me to take it all a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
All from a health perspective, as well as wanting to be the best version of myself and to prove to my daughters that they can do hard things if they want to in the future.
Yeah. I think though that it's actually a really good confidence builder, because it's very much one of those things that you say you're going to do something and you actually do it, and there's undeniable proof that you have went. So, I went from 23 stone to 12 stone, and by myself.
Yeah.
And, you pointed it out. Like, people weren't particularly supportive, and the better I did, the less supportive they actually got. No, not everybody, but like broad strokes. And it's like, well, I said I was going to do that, and I fucking did it.
Yep.
And then that
biggest dopamine hit out there.
Yeah, but it's not even just that. It's then well, what else am I going to tell myself I can do?
Well, exactly.
So
repetition.
Yeah. But anyway, the question was actually about balance. But I think, if you want an excuse, you'll make it, and if you want to do it, you'll do it. So
yeah,
I
just think it provides a solid foundation for you to then be the best version of yourself as a dad, and then the best version of yourself in your businesses.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not only the health benefits, but I think mentally.
Yeah.
I know for me now with the running, it's like, I love going out for a fucking long run. Just get the headphones in, clear my head. Like that's me. It's just me and me. That's
it. It has to be said though that everybody obviously is different, because that is my idea of
yeah,
hell.
but whatever your version.
Yeah, but like the gym, like
having a nap.
The flip side to me was, actually, nobody cares how strong you are, but if every time you go in, if you do slightly better than the week before, you're only competing with yourself. So it's the same logic. But I agree that actually a big part of it can be just that it's an opportunity to clear your head.
Yeah. Oh, love that. Okay, we'll move on. Number 2, do you ever feel guilty as a parent when business takes over, and how do you handle it?
This is a really odd one.
The guilt factor.
For me, because from a work capacity, I never feel guilty about working.
Okay.
And I know that's probably odd, but I grew up, my dad worked relentlessly, and he worked sick, or he worked injured, or there was nothing would stop him from going to work. And I mean nothing.
And he had a very physical job.
Thankfully he's retired now, so he can enjoy that. But that kind of, I don't know, taught me, or that lesson was that, like, and this again is very old school and not necessarily right, but it's just how I was raised. So, but as a dad, your responsibility is to provide regardless of anything else. So anything work related, I know why I'm doing it, and I know who ultimately benefits from it. So, and even the dynamic of my family now being, I was going to say slightly different to normal, but it's not. It's just
blended.
Yeah. Well, just an interesting setup. But ultimately, the responsibility is still there to provide if something goes wrong, and that never leaves you. So, I never feel guilty about going about work-related things. And Maxwell has told, so as a 6-year-old, his now career path, he told me recently on the drive to school, was that he's taken over our businesses, so we should probably discuss that with you and the girls. But when he grows up, he's going to take over from me, which I'm very much looking forward to retirement. But he's also going to be an archaeologist, so there's definitely a work ethic in there somewhere.
Nightcap archaeology.
Yeah. And but weirdly, what I actually do feel guilty about as a dad is doing anything for myself.
Yeah, you said that before.
Yeah. Like, I really struggle with
like, you struggle to, like, get yourself a pair of shoes.
Yeah. But
you made me buy a car because you got a new car.
Yes, I know.
It was really difficult.
I know. But that is actually true. That now that I think of that, that's,
you said it to me. You fucking pestered me for about a month.
Yeah.
But you said that stemmed from, like, it's like getting yourself something you feel like you need to
but
buy someone else something at the same time.
Yeah, I always
if you wanted to pay for the car, like, that's totally fine. But
no.
That
I'm not even going to entertain that. That is a thing with me, and it always has been. I
Where do you think that stems from?
I'm not sure. It's I don't know. I don't have an honest answer to that, but you're right. If I, like, historically over the years, if Maxwell or his mum needed anything, I wouldn't have thought twice of buying it for them, you know. And, but you're right. I would put a pair of trainers in a basket online and they would sit there for months, and the company would email me being like, oh, you forgot something in your basket. And I'm like, oh, no, it's there, but I'm not, you know, until I absolutely need it. You know, I probably did, or I wanted it, but I wasn't, you know, I struggled to prioritize myself in such a way that was, you know, okay, I'm going to do this for me. And that's actually not even just like purchasing things, but if I have something on that, like, not work wise, but something,
like something social,
social, and like, you know better than anyone, I do very few things, you know, like socially. Obviously, drinking so little now at this stage of my life, so there's not that same, like, you know, but I really struggle with like explaining to Maxwell, you're with your mummy all weekend because daddy's doing XYZ when it's not. Whereas if I'm working, he, much like me as a child, is like, okay, you know, he understands from he was a baby that daddy's going to get pennies from Maxwell. That has been, he's been told that from he was no age.
Yeah.
And he does his absolute best to spend every single one of them. But so he gets that much like I did, and whereas it's much harder to say Danny's going away for the weekend because he needs to. The annoying thing is that I actually think that as a parent, it's really, really important to do things for yourself because, as I said, his mum was on holiday recently, and before she booked it, or before it was confirmed, she rang me to discuss it. Would this be okay? And I was like, absolutely, because there has to be, when you become a mum or a dad, you don't then forget the person who you were before being a mum or a dad.
You don't stop being you.
Yeah, so, but I struggle with that. So prioritizing myself in anything is very difficult. Whereas again, so I kind of encourage his mum because almost in a way to try and be like, okay, well,
it's like living vicariously.
Yeah, but I'm like, maybe this will encourage me to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and she would be absolutely the same had the script been flipped. But it's like, you know, how you remain yourself. You know, you don't want to be, well, you know. And the thing is, it's the biggest part of me. So, like, if I was introducing myself to someone who didn't know me at all, that would be my first. You know, I'm Dean. I have a son. You know, like, but there is a lot more to me. I don't know what those things are sometimes.
I
but
feel like that as well. I was going to say, you don't just want to be like Maxwell's dad or Emmy and Izzy's dad, but at the same time, if you were to be like, write your bio there, top thing would probably be like, I'm a dad. Like that is the go-to thing.
But it's just about having little snippets of, like, you know, really unfortunately, you know, if it was like, how do I do the things that I enjoy or that I used to enjoy pre being a dad? Like, we're not going out and, you know, fucking box is closed. You know, we're not going to clubbing anymore, you know, and we're not, you know, no, thankfully, you know, we're not going to cafes, and, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, it's trying to maintain an identity probably that doesn't exist, and then also like carving a new identity, and how that looks. But I do think, and again, I say that it's really important, but I'm really not fucking good at it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that has to be
you're advocating that you should be.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it actually probably blends with the first topic a wee bit about, you know, you need to fill up your own cup. To be able to, because I mean, like us in particular, parents, you know, partners.
We're not partners. It doesn't matter how long you try.
You talk about blurred lines. I don't know sometimes. But our staff, I think, like so many people require our attention and energy, and it's not an infinite resource. You know, you need to be able to top that up, and as well, kind of touching on the social side of things. That's probably a little element of the, you know, the fitness side of things as well. That, like, there's that growth away from, I would say, you know, a catalyst for me, like, you know, the story stag do last year, whatever, and that to me was this like turning point of, I'd looked forward to this so much. Family was literally sick during the week. was like, God, am I going to be able to go? Manipulated things to be able to get away. And night one, get struck down with the very bug that they're all sick with. Had to book a separate hotel room. And like, I'd looked forward to it so much. Then I was sick. But not only that, I was then witnessing us being away and people doing the same things they did when they were 21, going to the same venues in the city we were in, you know, and it just wasn't me anymore. That isn't what I wanted to do. It isn't what I wanted to spend my money on. And that was then a catalyst to be like, there has to be more to life to look forward to.
I think though with that, mate, if you actually think about it, what you probably would have rathered or what you were looking for in that trip was to be 21 again. And then what you realized was,
not 21 stone.
Yeah, but you realized, like, God, I'm not 21 anymore. Those things I don't get the same enjoyment, you know.
Yeah.
We've said this before, like, I have no interest in nights out now, but if you could take me back to 2009 and have one of those nights out, I would be all for it.
It's probably we have interest in having less responsibility for 48 hours.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, it's not really,
not
really an option.
Nope.
Anyway,
also, the potential hangovers that come now are not the same as 2009, you know.
100% no. Doesn't even bear thinking about. Jumping back to the guilt factor, I was going to say this earlier. I think with you and I, if you look at the parental side of that, you know, the origin probably of this question, I don't feel guilty at all because I'm very content with the amount of time that I spend with my daughters, and I've made sure that I do that, and at no stage do I feel, in fact, and I've openly discussed this, there's times where I actually feel I'm out of kilter, like the opposite direction, where like it's almost too much family time. You know, am I not giving work enough attention?
Yeah.
And
or are you not getting not alone time, but time that's just for you? Is actually probably true. More of a.
That's true.
You work plenty, but it's that logic of like, okay, well, what do you do for you? But if you break down what you do for you, and it's, well, when I'm in work, I get to the gym, and then the next day when I'm in work, I go for a run.
Yeah.
I don't know if that covers ticks the boxes of what you time actually might be.
True.
You know.
But then the guilt factor, you know, I'm sure a lot of dads and mums will feel this as well, because there's a lot of, I know, you know, female entrepreneurs running businesses, and they're taking over the world, and
much like your girls will be one day too.
Yeah, man. I hope so. Do you know what? It's great to see that as well. You know, and particularly within the sporting arena, like, you know, different things, and they can be whoever they want to be. But just there will always be that guilt of, and there's certain rules and positions, and like if our business, for example, was, you know, growth into Europe or whatever, and it maybe required us to be away for periods of time, you know, that would then all of a sudden become difficult, because anything we've built, which is, you know, I work a 4-day week, I'm off a day with my girls. All of a sudden it's like, well, Deck, you need to be in wherever for a week, you know. That would then become difficult. But with that comes the trade of, I'm doing this for the family, and you know, so it's just an ongoing balance, particularly at the ages we are.
I think though the reason that it actually fits both of us, and we both have the same attitude of, there is no guilt here, because you work when you have to work, but when you're not working, you're not out getting pissed at the weekend. You're not playing 18 holes of golf and, you know, like doing things that are all totally acceptable and normal. It just so happens that we don't do those things. Mm-hmm. So your free time is never really free time. It's time to parent. Now, obviously, my setup's slightly different because Maxwell's not with me every single day. So there are occasions that I do have free time that I have absolutely no fucking idea what to do with. But so I think to go back to the guilt thing, that's why. It's because you know, you're prioritizing building something that eventually will be handed over or benefit our children.
Yep.
And the time that you're not spent doing that, you're more than likely spent with them anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
true. You've led us nicely on to the next topic, which was legacy versus lifestyle. So do you think about building a legacy for your kids with your business, or is it about creating a lifestyle in the moment? Over to you.
Jesus Christ, man, that's a fucking heavy question.
I was saying this to you earlier, when I first read that, my thought was immediately, oh well, goodness, it's I'm obviously building a legacy, because like if I was building a lifestyle, I would have I would go and get a job that pays the most money, and that would afford me the luxuries to do whatever. And then immediately at the same time thought about that would sacrifice my freedom and time that I've built with the family, and that flexibility, which, you can't really put a value on, to
yeah,
be fair.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it depends what way you deem lifestyle. So I think that what actually is important is the lifestyle that we have at the minute, i.e., that we're in a position that we can provide the best life for our children while getting to watch them enjoy that as much as possible. The only legacy I'm interested in is that someday when I'm not around or Maxwell is an adult, he can say, my dad did absolutely everything to make sure I had the best life. Or he didn't know everything and he made mistakes and he, whatever, but he did his absolute best. I would want there to be much like I have in my life. So, I can say that about my own dad without any shadow of a doubt. But, so I would like that for him, because that is a really nice, as an adult, and if he ever becomes a parent, which, he plans to, apparently, because he's already told me at the age of 6. He has me keeping toys. He has me keeping toys, being like, "That's for my wee baba," and I'm like,
as long as he doesn't ask you how it all works.
I know. Or landing at 16, tell him I'm going to be a granda.
Oh, wow. You'd love that.
Yeah,
Youthful.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that the legacy, like take the businesses out of the equation. I don't care about what many people think of me or us. As if I died tomorrow, would I want people being like, well, he worked really hard. I've said this before. I'm not planning on dying tomorrow, so just
fucking don't do it to me, man.
I don't know what you would do, but the point being, if that did happen, I think even in 6 years, which is a very short period of time, I'd like to think that my legacy would be a little boy who grew up to be a great man and be able to speak really highly about everything or every sacrifice or every effort that his dad made for him all the time. Both parents, but obviously we're only talking about me, so I don't want to sound like I'm just taking credit for things. But that's which is obviously this whole concept of this podcast is talking about founder and family and everything else. And if you had to ask me 6 years ago, pre being a dad, obviously if I answered it that way, it would make no sense because I'm no child, but it would have been so different.
Mm-hmm.
So different. And so I think fundamentally, we often talk about how things change or the changes in your life as you become a parent, etc. But that is a massive part of it, that your priorities really change and your entire outlook of life. Like if I didn't have Maxwell, you could probably testify to this, but if I didn't have Maxwell, I'd probably be in prison now. Or certainly a lot of things I would have handled very differently. A lot of actions that I would have taken that wouldn't have been how they've been. And so I owe him an awful lot.
Thank you, Maxwell.
Keep me on the straight and narrow. But it's just that priority and how you everything that you do in life, then you take different consider. I wouldn't actually be in prison. That was a joke. But you take different. You consider. You can sort of. You consider things very differently whenever you. And again, this goes right back to the feeling guilty, etc. You are no longer your number one priority, and you probably never will be again.
Yep.
And 100%. That's, so every decision you make actually, and certainly every decision that I've made since he was born and over the past couple of years has been entirely with his best interest.
Yeah.
Again, much like his mother is exactly the same. So, which is, he's very, very lucky.
And probably in terms of the business, probably be an agreement that we're not setting out our business. I'm sure the two of us would say, do you know what, see if our kids had no interest in this when they grew up, I'd be totally fine with that.
Yeah,
that's great. We have good examples of friends of ours that had family legacy businesses that they just went into and they worked. And I always remember being very envious of that, thinking that was amazing that their families had built this and their paths were basically created for them.
Yeah.
I think that would be slightly different these days. That it's not as, or it's more common maybe that there's an option there for kids, and then they actually choose to go a different direction completely.
Yeah.
But I think the point I was trying to make was when you're building a business, probably make sure that it's for you. Yes, the reasons you're doing it is obviously financially to make the best life and make moments for your family. But if you don't enjoy your business or scaling that or pushing it, it's what's the point? And actually, we discussed this, like the legacy is fantastic regardless of whether the kids take that on or not. So for us to have created something that didn't exist before we started it, and to have filled a void in a market for 12 coming on 13 years, affected thousands of people's lives in a mostly positive experience at massive events, pivotal events in people's lives, weddings, birthdays. When you reflect on it, it's pretty fucking cool. That's
the most impressive thing is, if you think over the past 13 years, the number of people who we have paid and the amount of money that actually, so like from a staff perspective, like people
providing,
like that is, and probably the stuff that money went on or whatever else, like people's literally livelihood, and that was from something that we, you and I kind of just hashed out, in your dad's kitchen, I think, at the time, like way back when. So like, but it's impressive, but at the same time, like that's
but it's good. Yeah, no,
very little impresses me.
I know, as we discussed the last time, it's like almost, right, okay, that's been the journey, and that's cool. Acknowledge it, but actually, we want thousands more people to come and earn a living with us in the next 10 years, and see where that goes and scale bigger heights.
The only thing with a legacy, I think it's an odd one, because as we probably realized over the past 12 years, and you just alluded to it, it's actually the journey. Looking back, we just both made points that were real positive, and ultimately, not that we don't care, but it's like, yeah, that's nice. Okay, next topic. Whereas when we were living that, and we were doing that, and that was when it was enjoyable. Like if I think about like what we do now, or our business over the whole time it's existed, and you ask me about the stuff I enjoyed, it was you and I in a van all over the country, or it was, like it was that time those times where you were almost challenging yourself to be like, I started at a wedding here on Friday. It's been 20 hours, and I have 2 more weddings to go before and you were kind of pushing yourself to see how far you could go, or how long you could stay awake, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
How much you could eat in the back of a van from leftover wedding food was probably more preferable for you and I at the time.
Tesco meal deals.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We enjoyed that at the time. Looking back now, we both kind of laugh and be like, never want to do that again.
Yeah.
But it was good. And probably there'll be a time in 10 years' time where we'll go where I'll say, "Man, you fucking drive me onto a podcast," even though I'm, like...
Yeah.
But...
I hate it, but I actually love it.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's just this night, obviously, it's here second, feel like my second home, but this is what it's all about, actually enjoying the today, because, like, what happened? Yeah, exactly.
Past the past, future hasn't happened.
Exactly.
What you've just said there about, like, what we did do, I think it's so important, because a lot of people, and we're just, like, this is minor examples here, but there are people that look at us and be like, God, you're doing really well. Like you have that Nightcap's grown, it's fantastic. How do you do? What do you do day to day? Like, how did you get there? But it's not about what we do day to day. It's not about us now. It's about what we did 8 years ago, 7 years ago. And it was those, nights, long weekends. Spinning all the plates, doing it ourselves, working out of your garage, heavy and broken, the works. Do you know what I mean? It was that much like it would be looking at Warren Buffett or whoever. It's like, it's not how he spends his time now. It's what he did back in the day.
No, I totally agree.
If that's your pursuit.
I know. I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't record more. I know you did. You always were about making, I know, like creating videos and content from like the very, very early days. But like you could make a real comedy, like a documentary about like some of the stuff that went on, and just how it kind of all came together and then grew, and the conversations that we were involved in, and probably way back in the early days, really played the part. But the two of us were like, do we really know what we're doing here? And sort of learning as we went, and yet people being very much like, yeah, these guys have this all under control, Yeah,
if you can give off the perception.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Look the part, be the part.
And then on the the lifestyle side of things, I think you'd sort of alluded to, like, lifestyle is sort of what you make it. It's subjective. So actually, one person's version of a successful lifestyle could be completely opposite to someone else.
Yeah.
So it's actually, me being able to go to a dance class on a Wednesday morning with my daughter.
That being said, though, mate, the version of a successful lifestyle that you might have described 15 years ago is now very different to the version of. So I think while, yes, everybody's going to be very different, it doesn't mean that those things won't change. We discussed it the last time, I said from we were literally kids, I go, I want the Rolls Royce. And if you asked me back then about what a legacy was, I'd probably have wanted a building named after me in the city centre, or, I wouldn't. But you know what I mean? Like, just as a stupid example of something that you might think has some...
Yeah.
Whereas now, all these years later, it just all sounds a bit laughable.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean at the time it's not wrong, because if you want those things and that's the lifestyle that you want, I would encourage people to, like, actively pursue it, because, like, if you try and fail, well, that happens. If you don't try, you're definitely gonna fucking fail. So, like, what have you really got to lose?
Yeah,
would be my take on things.
That's what I was thinking when you were talking about the legacy and Maxwell and what he would think of you. It'd be like, well, do you know what? They give it a go. They took the shots, and there was a lot of stuff happening.
Took the punches, more like.
Well, you take, that's what happens when you go in the arena or the ring in your case.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, any takeaways from that overall? Those three topics. Any major things we should be?
To be honest with you, my big thing would be, and you said it earlier about people not necessarily being as encouraging or whatever else, but, like, I think anybody, obviously I'm very much thought about it as a dad, business owner, just a bloke, whatever it is, you're like, if you're at a stage in your life or you're not happy with how you look, how you feel, or whatever else, like, you are very much in control of your own actions and the decisions that you make, or to what led you to where you are now, and the better decisions that you could potentially make could lead you to a different place that you'd be much happier. So I think if anybody's thinking, I listen to this guy talk shit, but actually I'm gonna do something.
Me every day.
Yeah, I'm gonna use this information to make active changes, to be like, okay, well, I would, like, how many people, guys, would be looking and being like, I would love to have lost 12 stone, 6 stone, whatever it is. But it's a long journey. It's a lot of hard work, and it's whatever else. But, like, if the only way you're ever going to get there is if you start. So, see that logic of, like, I'll start on Monday. Start right now.
Yeah, deliberate action. That's what's going to get you there. And I think you sort of hit it there. If we can affect someone, if someone makes a positive change out of that, I think about that, about my posting my running stories and my journey. It's boring people to death. People can give a fuck. But if there's one person that inspires to buy a pair of trainers and go out for a run or change their lifestyle, I think that's amazing.
Well, the majority of the people who don't appreciate it are probably the people who are, as you said earlier, sitting being like, what a dick. I'd never do that. So, it's by the same logic, though, not necessarily dads or parents, but, like, anybody at all, mom, woman, child, whatever, if you have an idea or something that you've always wanted, a business idea or something you've always wanted to try, by the same logic, give it a go.
Yeah. And if it's really good, come to us.
Yeah, give us a shout.
Seek advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Consulting.
Yeah. Partner up all over again.
Absolutely. Right, mate, very good. Until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.